we will not be the greatest economy in the world were it not for black people.
Yes.
The NBA, the NFL, college football would basically cease to exist or be boring to look at.
Yeah.
And the WNBA as well. If black folks stop, if we stop producing music, the country is still.
Wow.
It's quiet. I remember when Bush was in the office as the president, they had the House of Representatives, they had the U.S. Senate, and they had Supreme Court. Any bill they wanted to pass,
yeah,
they could have passed.
Yeah.
Did they make abortion illegal then? No.
Wow.
They kept it alive to do political fundraisers for.
Wow.
If you killed a golden goose,
yeah, ain't no eggs. They not scrambled.
You gonna have to lay the egg. Making sure that we support companies that support us. And if a company won't hire you, you should spend your money with them.
Hey family, it's Dr. Jamal Bryant. Welcome to the Let's Be Clear podcast. I want you to pull out your calculators and find your old albums from James Brown. It's the big payback. I'm talking about reparations and what America owes black people. I got a proficient, prominent, and prolific guest, my brother and comrade, Reverend Dr. Robert Richard Allen Turner. Now, here's what I need y'all to know, what you don't know, is this is my successor. He's the pastor of Empowerment Temple AME Church in Baltimore, Maryland. Now, I had to pause because I didn't think I would ever have a successor. I thought he was going up with me in the rapture. I never saw myself going. And the Lord brought a man from Tulsa, Oklahoma, who does not wear cowboy boots to be the pastor of my church in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. You're doing an amazing job. Dr. Turner, welcome.
Doc, thank you. So happy to be here.
You're doing an amazing, amazing job. It is amazing to know 4 years ago, I didn't even know who you were. I promise you, I didn't know who you were 4 years ago. I was watching ABC News. And you were on the corner with a bullhorn. Yeah, this is a true story. You was on the corner with a bullhorn, and I called my father saying, "Have you heard of this guy?" He like, "Yeah, you don't know Turner?" My father knew who you were before I was. Wow. It was coming up on the 100th anniversary of Black Wall Street, and you were a critical, seminal figure in really sounding the alarm of Black Wall Street. Before we talk about anything to deal with today, tell the people what happened in Tulsa.
It was the worst race massacre in American history, and that is not to minimize any other race massacre. We've had several unfortunate incidents, but in May 31st through June 1st, 18 hours of sheer terror. The United States government, in its civilized so-called society, watched 18 blocks be burned to the ground.
It's the first time America bombed itself.
And it was done by Americans. Yep.
Wow.
The first time we were ever bombed, period. And we were the first perpetrators, and the first victims were black folk.
Amazing.
And never saw any sort of reparations. Nobody went to jail. Bodies dumped in mass graves. Insurance claims were not paid. It was the worst time, and it was all done in broad daylight.
That's crazy. 100 years. I came to that celebration. People were there from everywhere. The president was there. Every media outlet was there. Tulsa became the center of the universe.
You came and preached?
Yeah, I came and preached on that day. Tell me what that felt like, knowing, drum roll, that some of the survivors are still alive.
That's right. And I had the great pleasure of meeting several of them.
Yeah.
It felt anticlimactic, because to me, the Centennial was not a celebration.
Yeah.
It was being treated like that, but it was more of a commemoration and really a day of reckoning is what I called it, an indictment on Tulsa and America.
Yeah.
For it being 100 years and no material repair being done. And so it was great to see the survivors. It was always it's great to see leaders, across the nation come, and the president come. But we have to move beyond just symbolic gestures.
Yes.
And move toward actual material justice.
Amazing. Tell me what now is the sense, because in a large way, Tulsa reflects a microcosm of all of Black America. I read something yesterday that Adolf Hitler killed 7 million Jews, but King Leopold killed 34 million Africans.
That's right, in Congo.
And most people have heard of Hitler, but never heard of Leopold.
That's right.
Nobody really talks about the reckoning that's taking place for Black America, and we've not gotten our recompense. Do you think, I read a statistic, Dr. Turner, 78% of Black people think that reparations are due to our community. 98% don't think they'll get it in their lifetime. What you feel about that?
78.
Think that we are due.
But 98.
Don't think it's going to happen in their lifetime.
Well, I'm happy for the 78, but I'm concerned about the other 22.
Yeah.
The 98, it shows to me an apathy toward our plight and our cause. I wasn't alive then, but I imagine in 1863, 1864, if you uphold enslaved people, whether or not they want to be free, it would have been 100% saying they want to be free,
right? And
probably 100% saying they would probably never see it,
right?
And the same thing with Jim Crow, during Jim Crow America. We oftentimes never see ourselves as winning, only as fighting, only as suffering.
Wow.
And we specialize in fighting, we specialize in suffering, but the winning part we don't see, and it takes every generation. It seems to be leaders who have to see what the people cannot see.
Yeah.
And typically those are oftentimes folks of faith.
You don't even know how heavy, or you do know how heavy that is. Yeah. Do you think, knowing we are weeks away from a transition of power, new inauguration, you're looking at the potential of 35 million immigrants being deported, others thinking that they'll just be in privatized prisons. Do you think where America is going, that reparations is realistic?
I believe where America is going is where we're willing to take her. This economy will stop if Black folks stop spending. We will not be the greatest economy in the world were it not for Black people.
Yes.
The NBA, the NFL, college football would basically cease to exist or be boring to look at.
Yeah.
And the WNBA as well. If Black folks stop. If we stop producing music, the country is still.
Wow.
It's quiet.
Yes.
So anything that America has been built on our backs.
Yeah.
And so to have reparations, or to say reparations is something that we could or could not have, and is it realistic in this next administration, it is what we make it.
Yeah.
I would like to think that those people in those industries, NBA, NFL, WNBA, and the music industry, if we all could collectively agree on this just one issue and say, we not moving, we ain't singing, we ain't running, we ain't shooting until we get ours. Without Black folks, this country will be bored and still and tasteless.
But that calls for a whole lot of unity.
It does. It does. And that's been our problem.
We can't get all Black people to do the electric slide.
That's sad.
All people won't agree to pay spades.
That's true.
We can't figure out for Uno whether I can do draw twos back to back. And you now saying to get everybody to do it. Don't forget the Underground Railroad. She had to get a gun to get some people to move.
She did.
How do we get everybody on one page when there are some Black people, we're not myopic, who think that Trump is God's choice?
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. We've all, and to your point, you're absolutely right. We've never had unanimity on any issue that we wanted to have done or seen done, from the cotton fields to even integration. You had some folks who wanted to still be on the plantation, right? You had some folks who were fine in segregation. We need enough to make some noise.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I'm asking for. If we can get enough to make some noise, a sizable number. Margaret Mead said, it never has taken a majority of people. Yeah. Just a small, dedicated few. We believe in Christianity that 12 men changed the world. Yeah. Inspired by one man. Yeah. Right? So you seen on the walks, I don't need many people. But if you have dedicated individuals from each of those sectors that are willing to put not self first, but we first, right? And to believe in something bigger than themselves. If you are fighting for something that you think you can accomplish by yourself, your fight is too small.
Wow.
That's
great.
Just a fact.
That's great. You moved from Tulsa a year after the Centennial. Yeah. He was like, all right, the party over. I'm out of here. And you took, and I am so grateful, you took the helm and the leadership and the steering wheel of Empowerment Temple and are driving them to a greater destiny. But once you got there, you didn't just preach. You started walking. Tell me about this walk you do, and then I'm going to tell the people about the walk I know you do.
Can I just pause before I go into what I did in Baltimore and just give this brother to my left a major shout out? You all don't understand. In history, we didn't have social media back then to accurately record. But this brother, son of a pastor, right, was in a very well-established church in Mother Bethel in Baltimore. He, led by God, starts a congregation in a living room. Yeah. In a living room about the size of this place. Yeah. The brother, if he had stayed, he could have been assigned to any major church on his own. On his own. He's Jamal Bryant. He starts his own church. And it didn't just start. It just mushroomed. It blew up. And because of that, everybody in the city knows Empowerment Temple. Like, the first church I pastored coming into the city, and I didn't have to say, have you heard of? Right. You know, and I've been pastoring now for some years. This is the first church I pastored when I came into a city, and everybody already knew of the church, right? And the ministry, I mean, really, Doc, the social justice and the activism was something you already set the blueprint for. The membership was already ready for activism, you know, and that's a tribute to you. So I couldn't have asked for a better start as far as the culture of the church and even the expectation from the community that Empowerment Temple is that church that speaks up on issues.
The Bible says some planted, some watered, he gave the increase. Now, let me tell you all this. I'm from Baltimore. Yes. Went to Baltimore Public Schools. Mm-hmm. Was raised there. My dad pastored there. My grandfather pastored there. I thought I did a decent job.
Great job.
The city newspaper names this Negro one of the most influential people in Maryland, and he ain't even from there. We say it in Baltimore, you a Bama. He's a real Bama. He is a Bama from Alabama.
Tuskegee, by the way.
Tuskegee, Alabama.
That's right.
And to this day, do you even own a pair of Timberlands?
Nope.
I don't even know how he's influential in Baltimore and don't own Timbs, but I digress. You have taken it to a whole nother level. I'm grateful for your legacy. That was a shameless self-promotion. Let's come on back in. You have, how many times now have you walked to D.C.?
Walked to D.C. 26. Walked in period 27 because I did one from Selma to Montgomery.
Wow.
That's 54 miles.
I did that walk before.
Yeah, in one day. It was a lot.
I did that walk before, but you walk from Baltimore to Washington, D.C. First, let me ask, why?
Inspired by God to do something to be a witness for reparations, as I did in Tulsa every week at City Hall. I felt led to continue the fight for reparations, but this time not just for in Tulsa. I did it for the city of Tulsa and for reparations for Greenwood, but in Baltimore to nationalize it for all of us here in America. And found out on just looking at the map, having a devotional moment with God, and He told me to look at a map, and I saw it, map GPS.
Yeah.
That's how I map nowadays.
Yeah.
And I saw that the White House was like 42.9 miles from Baltimore.
Wow.
And Carroll Park was where I started from.
Yeah.
And it was because it was a straight route, because the mayor, the current mayor, before he was the mayor, he had a march against violence, right? Brandon Scott.
Yes.
And they did a walk from Baltimore to the White House, and they took Route 1. So I was like, okay, that's a straight route. And I found out it was exactly 42.9 miles. And I've done it now 26 times, 27 total counting Selma, and I've logged over 1,100. It's exactly 1,169 miles on my feet.
That is commitment. Now, let me tell y'all this. I walked with him.
Yes, he did.
Once.
Yes, he did.
You did it how many times?
27.
27 times. Let me tell y'all this. I don't know how God did it, and he thanking God for it, saving his knees and saving his ankles, saving his feet. I want to thank God he saved my gallbladder. I'm older than him. I don't know how I made it. Rev, that was my prayer. When we left that morning, I said, Lord, don't have me looking for a bush.
Oh, boy. Hey, it's there for you. It's there. You wouldn't be in the first.
No, but really, it really, for people to be honking their horns, for them to be chanting. I don't know anybody in my lifetime and in this generation who has made such a profound stride towards reparations that was not paperwork. No, really, but you demonstrated it. To do that. Now, let me tell you, I was asleep for 3 days after that.
You need.
I don't
blame you.
But you stand on the backs of people like John Conyers, people like Sheila Jackson Lee.
That's right.
Who really were sounding the alarm, respectively, from Michigan and from Texas, but to do it from Baltimore, the home of Frederick Douglass, is so significant.
Mm-hmm.
What I got to ask you from the peanut gallery, from the barbershop, when you going to stop walking? Done it.
My dad asked me the same question almost on a monthly basis. First of all, Jamal Bryant is a hero, man. This brother, he did not have to do. He took a whole day to come and to walk, and a day. And this brother, if you haven't seen his church, it is
brother.
His own
Listen, a hero is somebody who walked 20 times. I'm one of Jerry's kids. I get honorable mention just for participation. But you are a real hero, and let me say this: you are a hero to the ancestors, who didn't even know that this was a possibility. To know that this is what history records. And I think you have given us a teachable moment, because many of you who are watching it don't know he's taking the walk.
Yeah, that was one of my first objectives, was to not make it about me. I got a lot of attention in the media when I was in Tulsa. And I didn't start doing that the news just came. They see a black man with a bullhorn every week in the snow, every single week. No week off. Christmas, birthdays, anniversaries, none of that. And the news just came. I had kind of gotten interviewed out, honestly. So I was just, this was my chance of just me and God, whoever else wanted to join, to take this pilgrimage. And I was told by God when to start. Have not yet heard when to stop. My goal is to see reparations, H.R. 4 to be passed by commission. We're hoping that Biden does it before he leaves office. The prognostics of that may not seem positive or probable, but it's still my prayer. with the incoming president who's already talking about reparations for white students.
Crazy.
You know, the prognostics seem even less likely, but we don't base our actions based on what the political pundits say.
Yeah.
I believe if you had asked the poll of the folks in Jericho how stable their walls were, you know, at the time, they would probably all said we're fine, you know, but the Israelites started walking, you know, a couple of times, and the walls came tumbling down. So I will continue. God provided my health stable. That was my only contingency with the Lord. I said, listen, God, I will walk as long and as far as you would like. But if I break something, it's time
oh, no,
for
he's
me.
going to keep you, brother. You wrote this amazing book. I want those of you who have not read it, I want you to gift it to yourself this year, Creating a Culture of Repair, Taking Actions on the Road to Reparations. I need you to put this on your reading list. Don't just buy it. I need you to read it. You open up, Dr. Turner, talking about individual reparations. I want mine.
Yes.
And I'm not calling Wentworth.
I
I want my money and I want it now.
Period.
What is individual reparations? Because there are those who are saying, man, if you give black people reparations, they just gonna blow it on J's.
Yeah.
Everybody gonna buy Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gonna get a Hawaiian weave number 5.
Mm-hmm.
What does individual reparations look like?
Individual reparations actually describes people who are tired of waiting on their government to do something.
Yes.
And so they individually want to bless the Bryant family. So say you found out who your ancestors were working for, owned by, right? And that family says, I want to gift your children a free house paid for, right? Because they built my house, the house of my great-grandparents. That is those individuals taking action, not waiting on any governmental action. Those are the individuals waiting on those.
Let me pause right there. If there are any Bryants from Georgetown, South Carolina, who are non-melanated, and you want to do something, don't wait on the government to do it.
That's right.
But you want to pay my girl's college tuition.
That's right.
You want to take a load off of my mortgage.
That's right.
You want to do something to help my church.
Period.
Listen, no questions asked. Just be a blessing.
That's right.
I like that.
That's individual reparations.
Yes.
Right. But it requires, and because I speak to a lot of artists with white people in them too.
Yeah.
It requires them to do their own family research.
Yeah.
To figure out how they became so wealthy, like where did their money come from? So that's the first form, individual, for those who really are tired of waiting on anybody else, and they know it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
The second one is societal.
Yes.
Right. That is the society's, not government, but societal members, organizations, nonprofits, colleges, schools. We see some of that right now.
Yeah.
Quasi-governmental, but not government. And they're realizing that, like Georgetown, this school was built by enslaved people. We should do something for their descendants. Or
I got to pause you right here, Dr. Turner. Last night on the news, Harvard University Law School. Did you see this?
Yes.
Harvard University Law School, now that they've taken away DEI,
19.
have the lowest number of black law students in 50 years.
Yeah.
This wiping away of DEI to suggest that 50 years of DEI make up for 300 years of injustice is insane. And here's what nobody's talking about, but let's be clear right here. The number one recipients of DEI, number one beneficiaries is white women.
Yep.
It is not black people, as you were.
No, I agree. And so schools such as Harvard, because to me, the government should not have to make you do what you know is right to do.
Yes.
Right. And so oftentimes schools and colleges rely upon, well, if the government no longer funds that position, I won't hire for it. Not realizing the fact that the government was not the one who built you. It was enslaved people who built you and sustained you. And so that describes societal reparations, when societal members, organizations, nonprofits decide we are going to do this. For instance, genealogical firms can say, for all African Americans, we're going to do free genealogical research for you and your family, for everybody, up until you find out where you actually come from in Africa.
Yeah, the pause on that, Dr. Turner, is what has been levied against places like Ancestry.com that's selling our DNA.
And that's the problem.
Yeah,
that's a huge
it's a
catch-22.
problem.
I would personally go to a black-owned one myself, but some have gone to those other ones, and I don't support that.
What do you think our black community, while you're dealing with those issues, what do we do with companies and corporations and Fortune 500s like Walmart that are saying, no, ain't no more DEI? It's over with. Do we then do selective spending? Do we avert them altogether? Is we subscribing to cancel culture? What do we do to organizations that are no longer participating?
One of the things I also do every month, in addition to my walks, is have people create a list of 40 black-owned businesses we can patronize. Because I believe that this country has surplaced, if they ever had God as their lead, and made it the dollar, right? America is for sale. And China knows that, Russia knows that. America is for sale. Our campaigns show that. We spend more money on campaigns than any other country. We are for sale.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. And so the only thing a lot of folks in this country listen to or look at is the bottom line. And if you ever want to make a change or impact, you have to address the bottom line. So yes, every movement was only successful not just by political demonstration or voting, but once you hit the pockets of those in power. Dr. King and folks in Montgomery would have still been walking if the dollars had not impacted the buses. They
crumbled the whole economic infrastructure.
Exactly. Cesar Chavez in California, he would not have had the grape companies bend to their wishes of the UFW if they did not see impact on their dollars. For 5 years, his brother in California had folks marching and boycotting grapes.
Right.
And they were successful. So I think we do have to patronize our own, but also, and especially now during Christmas season, making sure that we support companies that support us. And if a company won't hire you, you should spend your money with them.
Yeah, that's really a throwback to the civil rights movement.
That's right.
Is that if they don't honor you, don't spend your dollar there.
Period.
And we've not seen that really in the last 20 years move forward in that direction. You got a chapter that we got to really noise abroad that I need you to unpack. Tote and carry. Talk to me about spiritual reparations.
I knew you were going to ask about that. It is undeniable that, and I've been a Christian almost all my life. I was baptized as an infant, gave my life to the Lord a month before my 5th birthday. I would rather be nothing else than a Christian. But we have to be honest about the role that Christianity has played in the subjugation and the oppression of Africans and African Americans by extension.
Yeah.
And so chapter 4 delves into that role that the church played in sustaining and validating slavery and the slave trade.
Yeah.
My only regrets in the book is I could have gone even deeper. You know, after I wrote it, I found out even more terrible facts about what the church has done. But not just the Christian church. I mean, the Islamic faith, they had slaves over in Arabic nations as well. But because we're in America, it speaks prominently about the role that the church played in that. And pretty much North and South, any church you see built before 1865, in large part was built by enslaved hands.
That's right.
And those people have yet to be paid. And I think that the church, talking about unity amongst black people, there ought to be, and there should be, unity amongst folks of faith in eradicating, which has become an idol in America, which is white supremacy. So chapter 4 delves deeply and how to eradicate that. It even talks about the removal of the image, the false image of a white Jesus, which is historically inaccurate and biblically wrong. But it also talks about reparatory committees within these churches on how they can help repair the communities that they exploited to become who they are today.
Yeah, I saw in my lifetime the most division in the body of Christ in this most recent election cycle. I'd never seen it so glaringly. As you very well know, I hosted the vice president for worship. I received the most condemnation from saints. Oh, yeah. During this election season. Saying, how did you let the witch in your pulpit? How in the world? This is the Antichrist. What do you think needs to happen for the unification of the body of Christ in America?
I'm happy you didn't say reunite.
Yeah, no. It don't feel so good.
Never were.
Yeah, come on, Peaches and Herb.
That's right. But no, I think that true Christians who really believe in the salvific work of God, who also showed us a demonstration of reparations by sending his only begotten son, we believe, to repair a relationship that we had, that we ruined.
Yeah.
And so for my Christian friends who are against reparations and say, well, why should I support it? I didn't do anything. What if your Lord and Savior had said the same thing?
Wow.
What if Jesus said, Daddy, I didn't commit that sin. I didn't tell that lie. Why should I have to go down and pay for something that I didn't do?
Yeah.
But he went anyway. And so I think that what we need is a full reading of Scripture, right? And I'm not even talking about it with any New Age perspectives. I'm just talking about reading it as it is.
Yeah.
Because what they put more hatred in the Scriptures than what's read from the Scriptures.
Wow.
You know, I said it again. They put more hatred in the Scriptures than was read from the Scriptures. They created the curse of Ham. That's not in the Bible. It's cursed be Canaan.
Yeah.
You know, they created this whole you shouldn't intermarry. They created all of the racist undertones. They made Jesus white. That's nowhere in the Bible.
Yeah.
You know, so they read more hatred into the Scriptures than was read from it. And I think that we have to have a proper reading of it, and unity and humility. Unity in humility, realizing that we've been wrong. We've said some things terribly, and not just saying that I apologize. You know, do as Zacchaeus, do acts meet of repentance.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that we have a generation now that doesn't mind. Some of them do, but sensible-minded ones don't mind saying I'm sorry, but they have not gone the final leg and said, okay, I'm sorry, and this is how I plan to make up for it.
No, that's powerful. They say that the most segregated hour in America is Sunday at 11 o'clock.
That's right.
But there's a notion now of the whole idea of the multicultural churches. My problem with that, Dr. Turner, is more often than not, in multicultural churches is always led by a white pastor with black people.
Always.
And not the reverse.
Always.
You coming from Tuskegee, Alabama, now in the concrete jungle of Baltimore, Maryland, it is no different up north than it was down south. But I'm not seeing any real connectedness, and we are no longer divided by denominational lines. We are now divided by political lines. So it ain't Baptist against United Methodist against Pentecostal. It's, are you a Republican or are you Democrat?
Yeah.
Has politics in America become the religion?
Absolutely. And their God has become Donald Trump. Absolutely. And it's unfortunate to be the case, but this man can literally do anything.
Yeah.
Charged 97 plus times, convicted 34, 37 times, still has spent a day in jail.
Yeah.
Yet.
And won't.
And won't, yeah. And he was the nominee for the Republicans, right? and won the presidential election over a sister
Yes.
that had no such criminal record.
No speeding ticket.
No, in fact,
No
she was
speeding
a
tickets,
law
no
enforcer.
jaywalking.
She was a law enforcer.
Yes. But those who held the moral
Running against a crook.
authority,
Mm-hmm.
those who held the moral authority said, this is our guy.
That's right.
And at the end of the day, Dr. Turner, I want to give redress. They stood on the issue against abortion and same-sex marriage as if those were the only two biblical principles. When you look at that in hindsight, tell me what your thought is.
I think that was just a subterfuge for their racism.
Mm.
I'm from Alabama.
Yes.
Like, I'm from Alabama. The Republican Party doesn't care as much as people think they do about abortion nor same-sex marriage. I remember when Bush was in the office as the president, they had the House of Representatives, they had the U.S. Senate, and they had Supreme Court. Any bill they wanted to pass, they could have passed.
Yeah.
Did they make abortion illegal then? No.
Wow.
They kept it alive to do political fundraisers for.
Wow.
If you killed a golden goose,
ain't no eggs. They not scrambled.
well, you're going to have to lay the eggs.
Yeah.
So if you get rid of those two, and they don't have but two, if you get rid of those two issues, what else can I use to really exploit Christians into voting for my candidate?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you take the sheets off, you'll expose this party just really basically supports folk who want to keep black folks down. That's the real meat, where the rubber meets the road.
No, that's powerful because my contention is, okay, I'm going to walk alongside you on pro-life, but let's extend that and cancel the death penalty.
All of that.
Yeah, let's offer prenatal care.
That's why you know it's disingenuous. That's why you know it's they don't care anything about marriage.
Yeah.
Most of them on their fifth wives. You know, there's no sanctity for that's just all a dog and pony show to get their constituents to raise fundraising dollars so they can keep being reelected.
What do you feel is the moral fiber? I saw a statistic this morning on CNN. 40% of this generation is in favor of the gentleman who executed the CEO of the healthcare company.
46%.
Yes.
In favor.
Yes. And most of those are young people. And I've not heard a spiritual voice speak to that condition, because then you've got to go to a deeper voice on what is the real issue in the country around healthcare.
Yeah, I was going to say that we have sent out, to use a hero, another hero of mine that I respect immensely. We've sent out in this country chickens that have created a culture where we have the most expensive healthcare system, and really it's sick care, because it's not designed to make you healthy. It's designed to treat your sickness. In the world, we have the most expensive sick care system in the world, where healthcare companies have profited off of sick people.
Yes.
That by itself is diabolical.
Yes.
I mean, not just profiting a couple thousand, trillions of dollars.
Yes.
They profit off of sick people. And the most people who have been impacted by it are poor to moderate income folks. And now one of their own chickens have returned.
Yes.
In the country, my granddad had a chicken farm. They always come home to roost. And as a farm boy, it never made them sad.
Yeah.
It made them glad.
Yeah.
Now, I am not a proponent of violence, but when you live in the most weaponized residential and military country in the world, we have more guns in residential homes and in our military
than anywhere,
than any other country in the world.
Yes.
So when you live in a country that's the most residentially weaponized and military weaponized, And you have a country that has exploited poor people, middle class people for decades now. And folks get upset. I'm not surprised that the man found a way to shoot him. This country has seen better people get shot and not said anything about it.
You're going into hot water now, brother.
They've seen better people.
Yeah.
Dr. King shot.
Yeah.
Malcolm X shot. Medgar Evers shot.
Yeah.
We've had better people get shot.
Yeah.
Because of this weaponized culture we live in. So I mean, I hate that I hate that murder happens. I hate violence, period. I do my, as you know, nonviolent marches, but I am not surprised. And I hope that this causes the healthcare industry to wake up and realize people are tired of being exploited and tired of being mistreated.
He is being charged with a terrorist shooting. But it is amazing that those who participated in January 6th
That's right.
are getting ready to get cleared.
That's right.
That they did not perform acts of terrorism.
That's right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I believe that white mob violence from Tulsa to D.C. has always been sanctioned. And we have yet to see white mob violence be criminalized at the same level of black protest or the same level of black folks going to party. You have more cops arrest people in the parking lot of a black party. It could be a wedding. It could be a birthday party. You have more black folks arrested. It could be black folks at a pool party. You have more folks, more police there to come and arrest folks.
Yes.
Than you did at January 6th insurrection when they literally were bulldozing their way into the White House, into the Capitol.
One of the pieces of legislation that gives me pause and concern is that they're trying to move now to the Senate that they can remove the 501c3 status of those who are considered a threat, whether they are pro-Palestine or otherwise. Given your outspoken position on reparations, your march and social justice, do you have any concern that your church's status could be in danger? And what does this say to preachers who are on that bent for activism and social justice?
I think we're going to separate the wheat from the tares. I think we're going to find out who people really serve. Is it the God of your ancestors?
Yeah.
But as for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. It will be colossally improper if America removes the 501c3 status of any faith-based institution, and because of their speech. When, get this, the Ku Klux Klan, the skinheads, have never had their 501c3 status revoked.
Do they have it?
When they were in existence.
Okay.
Now, they got sued
by
Southern Poverty Law Center into almost being non-existent anymore.
Yeah.
But of all the hate they smeared, they never lost their legal status to raise money.
Yes.
As a nonprofit organization.
That's true.
If this government wants to set the precedent that now, because of the outspokenness of preachers or church members of whatever, on whatever issue as it deals with race, Palestine, Gaza, reparations, whatever, that would be a precedent set that black, brown people, your voices are of no significance. Your issues don't matter. And if you speak up about your issues, we will revoke your 501c3 status. If we allow, if the black politicians, I mean, in Congress, if they allow that to happen, and most of them came from a black church and or worked for a black nonprofit.
But how much power do they now have as the minority?
And that is why we should unite.
We have to. This is the largest class of the Congressional Black Caucus in history.
Yes.
And we don't have any real power.
None. Because, unfortunately, Politicians stay over here.
Yeah.
Preachers stay over here. Athletes stay over here. Musicians stay over here. And the 4 quadrants
Never come together.
never come together.
Malcolm X said it's only black people that let musicians and comedians be leaders.
Exactly.
Going into 2025 at the changing of the guard.
That's a fact.
Yeah, what does leadership look like for you?
It looks like service.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like not waiting for any permission, no approval. Leadership looks like reading and studying folks who are doing an excellent job in what they do, learning from them. And it looks like trying to find a way out of nowhere. And leaders go where people in society needs to go.
Mm.
That's how you lead. You do something that nobody else is doing. We have a lot of folks who just are glorified followers or copyists.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with copying if you're copying the right cat.
Yeah.
But leaders, to me, are trailblazers. And they set trends. I do this analogy a lot. Thermostat versus thermometer, right? And thermometers reflect the temperature of a room or space.
Yeah.
Thermostat set the temperature.
That's right.
Of a room or space. The masses are thermometers.
Yeah.
They reflect. Politicians, God bless them, love them.
Yeah.
They're thermometers. That's how they get elected.
Yeah.
Give folks what they want. But leaders are thermostats.
I love it.
When we set the temperature, it may take the room a while to heat up.
Yeah.
They may talk about you.
Yeah.
Why you the only one doing this? You the only one walking. You the only one talking. You the only one whatever. But over time, if you keep consistent, if you hold your line, if you press toward the mark, the room will heat up.
I love it.
And every generation has had leaders that were thermostats, not thermometers.
Yeah. Yes.
Right? And now they talk about you in the streets when you're a thermostat.
Yeah.
But when you die, they will name a street after you.
Right.
you know. But you have to be willing to make folks uncomfortable.
Yeah. John Maxwell said a leader is somebody who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
And I want to thank you for showing the way.
Bless you.
Now, I ain't going to walk 20 times, but I'm cheering for you. I'm honking the horn beside you while you're going. You do an amazing job. Thank you for really sounding the alarm and lifting a clarion call that in this generation, in this time and in this era, Black people are going to receive the reparations that we deserve. It is not a favor.
No.
It is not a favor. We're not begging for what's necessary.
No.
And so thank you for clearing your throat and crying loud, spare not. Help me thank God for one of the greatest Black leaders for this generation, Reverend Dr. Robert Richard Allen Turner. Thank you for hanging out with me, brother.
Thank you, Doc, so much for having me.